Hi, it's Miss Lee. Welcome to Full Steam Ahead, New Jersey. Today we are going to be making our coffee filter planets. So what you'll use are these coffee filters. You can use all of them and make one for each planet. You could even make a sun if you wanted, or you can make one at a time and come back to this activity and do more when you'd like. So for this, you can leave them the size they are, or if you wanted to get a little more realistic and cut them to be the relative size and make like planets like Mercury and Mars and Earth smaller and make like Jupiter this full size, that's up to you. So you can make it as realistic as you want. The other thing you will need is some water, and then you will also need washable markers. So I gave you a handful of washable markers in your kit, but you can use whatever washable markers you have at home. We just have to make sure they're washable, not the permanent ones that came in your kit, because they won't work with the water. So after you have those with the water, you will also need the dropper. So what this will be used for is once you have your planet drawn, you are then going to Okay, so I'm going to start with doing the Earth. So since I'm doing the Earth, I'm going to be using blue marker and some green marker. So I'm going to use these dot markers, just what I have at home. So feel free to use any of the washable markers you might have at home. So I'm going to tilt this down so you can see I'm going to do the green dots to represent the land. So you don't have to get too nuts with trying to make it super accurate, because once we add the water, washable markers are soluble in water, which means the ink dissolves. So it's going to spread around a little bit. So don't make yourself nuts like thinking this has to be perfect. Just use the colors that you think match the planet the closest. And then I'm going to fill in water here. So like you can see, I'm not filling every single inch of this. You don't have to. You can be a little more precise than I am. But you'll see, once I add the water, it really becomes all kind of bled together anyway, which that is the whole point. So here we go. This is representing my planet Earth. It's not perfect, and that's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little dropper here. I'm going to take just a little water and drops at a time, add it onto where I've done the marker. So you can add a little or a lot at a time. I recommend doing it on a tray or a plate like I have here. And be patient, give it some time. Let the water bleed through your coffee filter. So it's going to diffuse, which means it's going to spread from an area of high concentration where it's dry, where it's wet, to an area of low concentration where it's dry. And you can even help it along a little bit. You can push it side to side if you're seeing a lot of water build up. You can also push it around with your pipette or your dropper a little bit. Try to fill in all these areas that haven't been touched by the water yet. So this is one of those things where you might not want to do all the planets at once, because it will take some time and some patience. So it's one of those ones where it might be fun to do a few and then come back to it, and that's okay. So this is going to be my Earth. So what I'm going to do from here is really just let it dry. So it will help if you take it off your tray, and if you have somewhere like a sink, to let it dry, and you'll get a really nice, cool, like watercolor effect when you are done. So this is what my Earth is going to look like. It'll look really nice when it's dry. So, but definitely when you hang it up to dry, you can either do it outside now that it's getting a little nice out, or you could do it in a sink because it will drip with the water soluble marker. So it can get a little messy while it's drip drying. So that's why you don't want to go too nuts and add too much water. That's why I included the dropper. If you just dump it, it's going to create a whole mess. And you might, if you use too much water, you might run all the marker off of your coffee filter, which you don't want to do. If you have an older learner at home, another thing you could do is you could test this out with the Sharpie markers. They're not water soluble, so what you could add instead is a little bit of rubbing alcohol, and that will make the colors bleed. It actually works really cool if you use a black Sharpie, because then you can see all the colors of ink that make up that black Sharpie. But I would only recommend that for the older students, so they're not getting it on their hands. It can be a little bit drying, and you don't want to put it near their mouth. So if you're on the younger side, water and washable marker is the way to go. But if you're older and you want to experiment a little bit, that could be a way you could compare how it looks with the water markers and the Sharpie markers, which you do also have in your kit. The only thing you would need is rubbing alcohol to do that. Okay, but once you dry, you can either leave them as is, or if you have extra black construction paper, you can mount them on with the glue stick. So the one thing I don't recommend is using liquid glue to glue them down, because it really shows through even when it dries on the coffee filters. I learned that the hard way. Okay, so great job. Go back and pause this whenever you need to. I'm going to put up a picture of the solar system so that you can use that if you want to use that to draw. But other than that, you guys are free to go. I also have the solar system on your handout in the PDF form, or you can always Google it and look at a picture that you like to make up your planets. Okay? Have a great day and good job. Bye.